Good morning, Wake and Takers. What is going on? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? It is Thursday, September 18th. We're heading into week 3 of the NFL, week 3 of fantasy football, and we got a little bit of a feeling of who these players are right now, but there's a lot of football still to be played. So some guys that were sitting here thinking, oh man, I can't start him, but maybe you should. Maybe it's just been tough matchups the first 2 weeks. Maybe it's just new systems. There's a whole lot of factors that go into these early season slumps that we often see get broken. So that's what we're here to discuss today. We're going to talk about some guys. We're going to be doing a fantasy football trust fall where I'm going to let you know whether or not I feel confident in starting some flex worthy type players, some guys that aren't locked and loaded every week start, some guys that you're kind of sitting here. There's new information, new situations. Maybe we need to pivot. Maybe we need to make some moves. But we're going to go ahead and get into that a little bit later. First, of course, as always, we're going to get into we got the Thursday night preview for tonight, Buffalo versus Miami in Buffalo. And then we also got a ton of injury news. I feel like, it's week 3. Guys are getting hit, getting beat up, and we already went through the QB apocalypse fallout on Tuesday, but it looks like there might be some more, and we got a little bit more clarity on some of these guys that were I told you to wait and watch. Good morning, Alex. How are we doing? All right, let's see. We got, how do I feel about dropping Braylon for Blake in a standard keeper league? I don't hate that. I feel like that's not a bad move. It's one handcuff for another. I do think that the Rams situation would be better if something did happen to Kyren, and obviously we have seen Corum got a little bit more run last week than we've seen from Braylon all season. So I think that's not a bad move. I think that's it really just kind of depends on what your preference is. Exactly, it's a very similar situation. Better team, better offense. I got no problem with that. I do like swapping over to Corum over there. And also, it's not like either like Kyren or Breece are dealing with even minor injuries. So really, you're just you can take a look at what you've seen so far, and it looks like Blake Corum's already more involved than Braylon Allen is over in New York. So I think that's a good swap there, and probably more upside if anything were to happen to the starter. You need a running back that can play soonish if Connor goes down. Yeah, I think Corum might be the play just because he might have some independent startability, maybe just because we saw him get a touchdown, we saw him get used, and then watch Breece get traded to the Bears. I would die with that a little bit. Just trading out Swift for trading out Swift for Breece Hall. I feel like that's, what's the difference really? But I appreciate the question. Yeah, like I said, I think that I'd go Blake Corum, 100% over Braylon Allen. I think that Corum, it takes some time. It took some time to get in there, and we know that Sean McVay does not like to really just hand the keys over immediately. Especially when he's been in love with Kyren for so long, that the fact that we're seeing Corum kind of start to chip his way in now, I feel like it's right on schedule. Like everyone wanted it 2 years ago, everyone wanted it last year, and we're here now where it might actually be Blake Corum time. How long can Kyren Williams' inefficiency last in LA? Long enough to get a second contract. So, but yeah, no, let's go ahead and let's keep on moving on. As always, be sure to follow me at JOwens_FF over on Twitter. And I'm also putting out some more TikToks. Put out a Daniel Jones TikTok on Tuesday telling you to go get him. I must add, and honestly, probably a must start this week over on TikTok. It's JOwensFF, no underscore there. Be sure you're following the Profiler Now pages on Twitter and YouTube. It's Profiler_Now over on Twitter. That way you can go ahead and like and subscribe all of the Wake and Take videos, all of the videos that everyone on the channel is putting out. on a daily basis. We got a ton of great content out there, ton of great people just putting out their takes. So when it's not me here with you in the mornings, if you want like some late night shows, we got those too. So be sure to subscribe there and make sure you're getting the notifications to check in. And let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get us talking about the Thursday Night Football preview. We have Miami at Buffalo. And right now, this one looks like a very one-sided affair, and it absolutely will be, in my opinion. It's Buffalo minus 12 last I saw. That might have changed, but last I saw yesterday, it was Buffalo minus 12, an over-under of 49.5 here on Thursday Night Football. And honestly, at first I was leaning the under because that Buffalo Bills defense did seem kind of scary, but they're dealing with quite a bit of injuries right now. So this could be a very sneaky Thursday night shootout. We have confirmation right now that Ed Oliver and Matt Milano, two very key players for this Buffalo Bills team, are out, are confirmed out. They have two other corners that are on the injury report questionable, one with both lower body soft tissue injuries. So it could very well set up to be an offensive battle up in Buffalo. It's not too cold yet for the Miami Dolphins, so we can see a fight out of them right now. And I think it might be a Tyreek Hill week, guys. I've been very much hands off of Tyreek Hill, but he broke 100 yards last week. He's still over 20% target share. We want to see it go higher. He's only at like 22%. I want to see it get up to like the normal 26, 27, 28% that we know from Tyreek. But at the same time, Jaylen Waddle dealing with a shoulder injury that knocked him out of the game in week 1. He played through week 2, and he's caught the touchdown, so it looked fine. But we're sitting here, and Waddle is questionable, did not participate in Wednesday's practice. And I just got a note right before going live that he is going to do the pregame warm-up test to see how it feels. And it could be that Jaylen Waddle just sits out, which, I mean, I get it. Like, they can just zero in on Tyreek Hill at that point. But at the same time, who else are they going to throw the ball to? Tyreek should see 10 to 15 targets this game if Jaylen Waddle's sitting out. No Darren Waller still. So it's Malik Washington dealing with an injury. So it very well could just be Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane fighting the world out there for the Miami Dolphins. But I got a feeling. I just feel it. I feel it with all of the Thursday. It's the Thursday night game. The Buffalo Bills defense is banged up. They're probably coming in here. They're up. They're 2-0 right now. They're feeling good. They're just walking through the New York Jets. They're like, it's the Miami Dolphins. This could be one of those classic trap games. They're still going to win. Don't get me wrong. But I think that Miami's going to put up a fight here. They need to put up a fight. Everyone in that building needs to put up a fight because they are all literally backs against the wall fighting for their jobs right now, from the GMs from the GM to the coaches to the players. Everybody is fighting for their money right now. So they need to put up a fight at some point. And I think that we are going to see it tonight on Thursday Night Football. It's one of those games where it could just be a very classic Thursday Night Football game where it's just ugly. But I think that both these defenses, again, Buffalo's banged up and Miami's just a complete slice of Swiss cheese. So I think that it could facilitate some action, some fun here. Morning MVP Prof, how we doing? Good morning. Just talking about the Buffalo Miami game right now. I do think that I think that we're going to see something here in the passing game. We saw Daniel Jones just completely pick apart the Miami defense. We saw Drake May do well against the Miami defense, especially on the outside receivers. So I do think that this could be a little bit of a sneaky start for Keon Coleman. Not really someone that flashed last week, didn't have to flash last week. No Buffalo receiver really did anything last week. It was James Cook. And B Prof, there you go. James Cook told me about him in the offseason. I owned up. I put my hand up for some accountability on Tuesday, saying I was wrong. I was wrong about James Cook, it looks like. I mean, my whole case against him was I don't see 18 touchdowns, and here we are. Like I said, three touchdowns already in week through 2 weeks. So he's on pace. He's looking good. And I think he's going to get at least one more tonight. Calling a James Cook touchdown. And I think that one of these tight ends on Buffalo snags a touchdown. They had 11 combined targets last week. It was a pretty even split between Kincaid and Knox. So I think that one of these tight ends catches a touchdown too. And I think James Cook gets his 1-2 tonight. But like I said, I think Keon Coleman is a little bit of a sneaky flex play because the Dolphins outside corners pass defense in general just looks bad. So I think that they can go ahead and we can see some early game shots to Keon Coleman on the outside that might pay off. We know that we're starting on the flip side. I'm starting Tyreek Hill. Like I said, I think it's a blow up game. He broke 100 yards. He looking like one of the only weapons on this team if Jaylen Waddle can't go. The obvious starts are going to be your Josh Allen, your James Cook, your Devon Achane. And right now, the only guy that I'm hands off, I'm not trying to start, is going to be Khalil Shakir. It looks like he's still kind of ramping up from that high ankle sprain. He's out there, he's participating, but it's exactly what you see every time with the high ankle sprain, where they're not as fast, they're not as explosive, they're not able to perform to the same level that we're used to. So it feels very disappointing, but it's also at the same time, like, understand that he's on the back end of the high ankle sprain recovery. I think later in the season, Shakir's going to be perfectly fine. For week 3 right now in a game that could just be another James Cook takeover game, I'm not looking to start Shakir. If I'm starting any of these pass catchers for the Buffalo Bills, it's Keon Coleman, just because he gives you that big playability. And again, those outside corners for the Dolphins look rough. So I do expect to see some early game shots there, and that's kind of where I'm putting my money. Elijah Moore starting to steal some targets too. That is true. I think that's just more with the injury. I think it's more having to do with Shakir still recovering, that Elijah Moore's kind of coming in, but it doesn't help. Doesn't help him for the near future here. Morning, Chef. We are answering questions. Just throw them out there. I'll get to them as fast as I can. We're just I'll keep them flowing throughout the show here. Got just wrapped up. That's what I had for the Buffalo Bills Miami Dolphins game for Thursday Night Football. Going to be jumping into the news. Like I said, we got a ton of injury news. We got a ton of injury news out there. Reports coming out, and today's a very important day for the injury reports because it's kind of getting to that make or break time for some of these guys. Ferg, am I playing Waddle if he's playing? I don't think I can. Just the shoulder injury, the fact that he's been in and out already with the shoulder injury. I know he caught the touchdown last week. I know he did it, but it just feels like this is one of those things where if he's out there, he might just be decoy Waddle. And I feel like there's got to be other options out there that are a little bit like on the same level with less injury risk. So I would avoid Waddle if I can. If it's a super deep league and you got a big drop off down to like can't even think of a player off the top of my head. Let me take a look at the rankings and see. Go over to wide receiver. If we're talking like going down to like a Boutte, a Dobbs, a Troy Franklin, that kind of guy, I think that I would go with Waddle on the off chance that he's not a full decoy, but exactly what MV Prof said. Waddle will get hit, miss a quarter, and return as standard. It's just that's just what happens with Jaylen Waddle every single game, even if he's not on the injury report. So it's one of those things where I'm not feeling confident about it. If I got another option, I'm going there. Golden or Mims over Waddle. See, that's where I might just stick with Waddle. If I was going to pick one of those two guys, it'd probably be Golden, just to go for the shot there. But he's also not a full. We haven't seen the full-time player snaps out of him. Obviously, Jayden Reed being injured helps, but Green Bay's in one of those situations where I just don't trust those pass catchers. Week to week, it's going to be different who it is. So if Waddle plays, I probably play him over both those guys, to be honest with you. Morning A1, how we doing? London was a decoy last week. Use that for reference exactly. That it was pretty disappointing here. And we got a quick flex question from Fletch. Good morning, Fletch. We got PPR 2 flex. Need to choose between Zay Flowers, Tyreek Hill, ETN, and Pollard. So 2 flex here. I think I'm going Zay Flowers against the Lions. That one's a lock for me. And then who is Jacksonville playing? Is that the Cincy game? Or no, they're Minnesota. Jacksonville is playing Houston. Oof. That is kind of ugly. That Houston defense does look good. I think you still got to ride ETN there, just because he's been getting the volume. If you need upside, if you're looking for just like a big boom play, I think Tyreek Hill does. Like I said, I called it earlier. I think Tyreek Hill has his game tonight. It doesn't feel great. It feels gross, but I think he broke 100 yards. The team is, like I said, back against the wall. So I think we're here where, you know what? I'm going to switch it. I'm going to go Zay Flowers, Tyreek Hill. ETN's been great. ETN's safe, but I think Tyreek Hill has his game tonight. All right. But let's go ahead and jump into the news. We got confirmation yesterday that Justin Fields has been ruled out. He's still progressing through the concussion protocol, and it kind of seems like Aaron Glenn and the Jets are just going to be playing it safe here. With Fields, they don't want to get him destroyed out there. So even if he did pass through the protocol by Sunday, they're keeping him out, which I think is great. I think it shows just the confidence and the love they have for Justin Fields. He is the engine that is going to be this offense, and that's kind of like this team was built around him finally. So I think that it definitely does kill the upside of the game here, on both sides for both Tampa and the Jets. I think that we see a little bit more of a low scoring game. I've already pegged that one for the under. But like I said earlier on Tuesday, this doesn't really change how I'm looking at the Jets. I'm still starting Garrett Wilson. I'm still starting Breece Hall, just because that's who Tyrod's going to have to look to. Those are his two guys that, like, if this offense has any success on Sunday, it's going to be through those two guys. This honestly probably helps Breece's floor out a little bit more. And honestly, Alex, we might see some more Braylon Allen, just for the fact that they're going to be a little bit more run heavy, and Justin Fields can't take those carries out of the offense. So that's where I'm at. Where I'm at there. Again, I would temper the expectations on the Bucs side. We could see a nice Bucky Irving game after what we saw James Cook do to this Jets defense, but there's also the starting guard for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is done for the season. So that's another blow to this offensive line that's already hurting. So it's one of those things where Bucky gets a plus matchup, but his offensive line takes another hit. So I think that's kind of a net neutral there, where the good matchup kind of gets canceled out. You still start Bucky, you still ride with Bucky, but at the same time, I really think that this just turns into kind of a low scoring game here with the Jets and the Bucs. So I wouldn't expect big monster games out of Evans, Igbuka. Like I said, maybe Bucky, just because of the fact that the Jets got ran all over this past week. Jayden Daniels missed another day of practice. He's not expected to practice today either. Reports were that he will practice Friday at the earliest, but there was no indication of what that meant for his return on Sunday. I'm not feeling great about it. This is the franchise quarterback right here. They're gonna want to be safe with him, and they're playing the Raiders, so it's not like it's a big divisional game. It's not like it's this big NFC opponent. Like, it is very much just the Raiders. If there's a game for Daniels to take a week and get healthy, I think that this is it. Obviously, that has a lot of implications here, because Marcus Mariota, while he is a great backup, is not Jayden Daniels. So Debo takes a hit, and the Terry McLaurin comeback tour might have to wait one more week. He becomes one of those guys that is a tough start to trust with Terry McLaurin, because he's been very much feast or famine. He's got the targets, like I said. Him and Debo flip-flopped last week, where Debo had the most targets week 1, Terry on week 2. And with Mariota out there, you got to think he's got more of a connection with Terry McLaurin, being with the team for so long. But at the same time, I'm not overly, like, I'm still rolling him out there, but I'm not feeling overly confident. This Vegas defense has been surprisingly solid, like not great, but they've done a decent job holding some good players in check. So we'll keep an eye out here for Jayden. Obviously, if Jayden starts on Sunday, you got to start him. You can't bench him. I don't care who else you got. You could have picked up Daniel Jones as a backup, and I'm still starting Jayden Daniels over him if he's playing. So just keep an eye on tomorrow's practice report, and then obviously as we roll up to the games, just keep an eye on that injury designation for Jayden Daniels. Some good injury news finally. Brock Purdy came back to practice limited and is already questionable for week 3. That's very promising after we heard it could be 2 to 5. It could have been 2 to 5 weeks that he was out with this turf toe. So I mean, we've seen turf toe take out Joe Burrow now for 3 months with surgery, and we had Brock Purdy before that with a 2 to 5 week timetable there. So the fact that he is back at practice makes me feel confident, makes me feel better. There were some videos of him practicing and it looked like he's taking his drops. He's looking all right. So I scooped him back up in my main league, my main home league, and I'm not going to start him. I lost the Daniel Jones lottery, and I had to settle for Sam Darnold. But I'm still, even if Brock Purdy plays on Sunday, I'm still starting Sam Darnold just because I want to see Brock Purdy get back one more week of health. But at the same time, we did see Mac Jones last week put up a QB8 performance in Brock Purdy's absence. And every week that goes on, we're 1 week closer to Ayuk. We're 1 week closer to Kittle. We're 1 week closer to a healthy Jawan Jennings. We're one week closer to Demarcus Robinson. So there's weapons that are going to be coming back for the San Francisco 49ers. So I think that it's great that Brock Purdy's working his way back. And I think that as soon as he's back and as soon as these weapons come back, he's right back to a good start. He's got them. As long as the mobility doesn't take a big hit, he's still got the mobility and he still has weapons. He still has Christian McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings when he's healthy. Like, it's not like they're devoid of like weapons. They don't have anyone elite outside of Christian McCaffrey right now until Kittle gets back. But I just think that it's great to see him back. And if Purdy was dropped out there and you are struggling at quarterback like everyone else, I am scooping Purdy up there to make sure that I got him stashed. Best ball on a call. Good morning. Appreciate you coming in and dropping a like there. We got Clapnuts, who's asked trade Ladd for Chase Brown. Full PPR. Running backs are Bill, Gibbs, and Henderson. Receivers are DK, Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Chris Olave, and Josh Downs. I think right now, especially with that I was just about to talk about Ladd McConkey's injury. I think right now with the Ladd injury, I would go after Chase Brown with that. I think it's a fairly even trade. So if you feel like you need more of the help in the running back area, I would do that. And you could always flip Bill or Henderson once they have some blow up games for a more reliable receiver. But with DK and Devontae, and even Olave and Jeudy, like I feel like they're consistent. They're a floor enough. That it makes it all right. And like I said, Ladd McConkey right now dealing with a biceps injury. So we don't know the extent of it, but he did miss practice on Wednesday, or he might have been limited. But it's definitely something to keep an eye out on with Ladd. So if you are getting someone that will trade you an injured player for a fully healthy Chase Brown, who I think is going to be a bigger part of the game plan with the backup quarterback in there with Jake Browning out there, I think that Chase Brown does become more of a focal point of this offense. I think it's going to be Chase and Chase, Jamar Chase, Chase Brown. So I would do that. I would do that for sure. Thank you for the question. Let's go ahead and just jump right into that. Continuing off, Ladd McConkey missed practice with a biceps injury. Coming out of nowhere on a Wednesday is kind of concerning. They did have the Monday night game, so like obviously like no practice Tuesday, I'm assuming. No injury designation on Tuesday, but missing on Wednesday does not feel good for a team on a short week here. The Chargers are going into Denver, or they're home against Denver, so it's a tough game. I think that Ladd might try to play through it, but at the same time, like, is that a good thing? Like a biceps injury is kind of something that feels easily aggravated for a wide receiver, especially who's constantly pumping, pushing off, like trying to like get some blocks, get some stuff going with his arm. So it does feel like a risk for re-injury, even if Ladd is out there. So I'm a bit worried Clapnuts, should I do ETN instead? No, do Chase Brown. ETN is a sell high candidate if you're trying to do that. I think Tutin's coming to work his way up. I think ETN's looked great, but I also think that ETN's benefited from some positive situations. But like I said, if you can get out from Ladd for a healthy running back, I would definitely do that for Chase Brown. But yeah, back to Ladd. It's one of those things where we've seen this offense consolidate around the 3 wide receivers, and it's been glorious. So seeing Ladd on the injury report is a bit of a concern for him. Obviously, he's disappointed. He hasn't caught any of the 5-6 touchdowns that Justin Herbert's thrown. So disappointing there. It's kind of felt like a little bit of a disappointing start to the season. And if he misses time, it's going to feel even more disappointing here. We know that this is kind of Ladd's MO where he's oft injured. So another guy to keep an eye out for today, tomorrow, and before Sunday is going to be Ladd McConkey, to see if he can at least get eliminated into today. I think that he should play on Sunday, but it's not a guarantee. So keep an eye there. We could see Keenan Allen just be back to full-blown 30% target share Keenan Allen, and that's going to be, who would have called that in 2025? Last little bit of injury news that I have here is Zach Charbonnet for the Seattle Seahawks did miss Wednesday's practice. Another guy that kind of just popped up out of nowhere on the Wednesday, missing on a Wednesday. Keep an eye out. He definitely went back to more of a handcuff type role this past week in week 2. So if he does miss this week, maybe week 2 he was missing. Maybe he got banged up a little bit and was just held out for the rest of the game, and that's why Ken Walker got the brunt of the work and delivered with it. So definitely keep an eye out here. Another guy where we're just watching. We're injury report watching all the way up to Sunday to see what his designation is. If he starts, I'm not starting him. It just kind of makes me feel a little bit less confident in Ken Walker. But if he's out, Ken Walker is a absolute smash start. Got to get him in there. Seattle this week is against the New Orleans Saints, and that's a beautiful thing. He was hit in the backfield on most of his carries. Yeah. So it's one of those things. This run game is kind of the identity of Seattle. And so whoever is out there, I want. Charbonnet was hit in the backfield on most of his carries, while Walker had 3 yards before contact. I mean, that's just how it goes from time to time. We've seen that flip flop. So that part I'm not overly concerned about. I think it's just play calling and them. I guess the O-line's more juiced up for one of the running backs. I don't think it's that. I think it's more just the defense keying in on when Charbonnet's in there, maybe being more of a run play type guy, where with Ken Walker, they're a little bit more afraid of the pass, or maybe it's just the down and distance type thing where I feel like it's more that than it's going to be like, oh, the O-line feels better with Ken Walker out there. So I think we could see that flip flop as the year goes on. I think it's a good offensive line. I think it's a good offensive unit. So whoever is the primary back, I do want them starting. But right now, it's Ken Walker, especially with Charbonnet being banged up. So keep an eye on it. Like I said, he could limit the ceiling of Ken Walker, but I don't think he's going to be startable this week. So definitely someone that I am not looking to go after. Going to be flipping over here in a moment to the guys that I'm starting with confidence, the fantasy football trust fall that I'm calling it right now. But before that, I did want to go ahead and talk about Fast Draft. As always, use code JOwensFF to get a $50 deposit match. And the DFS drafts are just, they're flying. They're so much fun. Like I said, I love it because it's 6 players. It's not a full-blown draft. It's not a full-blown roster salary situation that you have to plug into a bot to get spit out and just kind of follow a cookie cutter template. You get to make your team. You get to pick the guys that you want. You could go after Ken Walker if you think he's absolutely going to go bananas against New Orleans. Go scoop him. He might not be that highly drafted. Go get your guys in this type of DFS format while still having the fun of a draft. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the DFS, you get the draft, you get to go get your guys. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to the Podfather to talk about the Flex 6 Frenzy promo that we have going on in the month of September.
I know you're sad draft season is over, but just because the NFL season starts doesn't mean the drafting stops. Because Fast Draft has the Flex 6 Frenzy. You're drafting 6 guys for the Sunday slate against 9 other competitors. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun, and as with everything on Fast Draft, there are no salaries. Woo! So go to draftfaster.com, get the app, use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Like I said, code JOwensFF gets you a $50 deposit match, and I love Fast Draft. I love everything about it. It's honestly, it's taken over as my primary go-to DFS in-season tool platform, and I've also did a ton of my best ball drafts there this offseason too, kind of splitting between Underdog and Fast Draft, and I think next season is just going to be even more, and I appreciate it. I appreciate what the product is, because it helps me get in, get out, and keep moving. And I see Alex and Prof, you guys were talking about Sharps some more. There was nothing that Sharps could do. I get it. Like I said, I think that it's not a product. It's just a product of the snaps. I don't think it's like, hey, like the offensive line blocks better for Ken Walker than it does Sharps. I think it's just more the defense can key in on when Sharps is in the game. It's probably a run. And when Walker's in the game, you get a little bit of that 50-50 mix of what it could be. So that's where I'm at. Like I said, I got a lot more confidence in Ken Walker week 2 than I did week 1. But we could see week 3 come out, Sharps is healthy, and all of a sudden it's a 50-50 split again. Who knows? But like I said, fantasy football, trust fall, these are guys that the situations kind of change. We don't really know, like everything from week 1 and week 2, throw it out the window. Week 3 is a brand new situation for some of these guys. And we've also seen there's a couple guys in here that have been a little bit disappointing, or they had one good week, one bad week. And it's like, what do I do? Well, that's what I'm here to talk about with you guys today. First up for me is going to be Bill Krosky. Bill Krosky Merritt. I feel like I keep talking. I mean, he is a very polarizing player all off season, especially through draft season. Here we are, week 3, and we're back very much talking about a polarizing Bill Krosky Merritt. We are sitting here, and Austin Eckler done for the season, torn Achilles, talked about that on Tuesday, and now we're stuck with what does this backfield look like? We could be seeing Washington go out there rolling out Marcus Mariota at quarterback, no Austin Eckler as a safety net for him. So they didn't bring in any running backs yet. So here we are. We have Bill Krosky Merritt. We have Jeremy McNichols, who is dealing with injury. And we have Chris Rodriguez, who we expect to stop being a game day scratch, a healthy inactive. And I don't know. I still don't know what the hell is going on in this backfield. Help me, Obi-Wan Jacory. You're my only hope. I feel that, but I don't have confidence starting him this week. I think that he very much could have a great week. I get it. He had week 1, the great breakaway run, touchdown looked great. Week 2 against a very, I'm going to say, elite Packers defense that has shut down everybody they faced. He only had 14 yards, but he only had like 5 carries that game, or like 10 opportunities? It was not a lot. It was very, very, very concerning, just the level of work that he got. He had 5 opportunities. And I still think that we're going to see some form of 3-headed monster here. If Jeremy McNichols is healthy, if he is back, then I think that it is it's going to be a 40, 20, 35, 35, 30, like some form of just gross split that isn't going to be enough of a bump in workload for me to be overly confident in Bill Krosky Merritt. The thing is, though, he's efficient. He's very much like a one-touch type of guy, where he has a 35% juke rate and 7 yards per touch, which is both very high in the league right now per player profiler. So he doesn't need a lot more touches to be productive. But right now he's ranked as the RB28 on week 3. And I think that's fair. I think that's a very fair spot. and I'm looking to bench him if I can. If I'm not like absolutely desperate for a running back start, which I don't think a lot of people really should be. I think that unless you went full bore 0 RB and Ja'Cory was your RB2 from the get-go, I'm looking for someone else right now just to see how week 3 shakes out. And again, week 3 might not even shake out how the rest of the season shakes out because we might not have Jayden Daniels. So it's just an overall muddy, murky situation where this Washington offense is off to a slow start again. They might be out without Jayden Daniels, so an even slower start. I think that Bill can, like I said, we saw week 1. Bill can provide a big run for a touchdown, and he can have that splash week, but he can also disappear with 14 yards. So I think if you can afford to right now, bench Bill Krosky Merritt. I'm not starting him in the leagues that I have him right now. He's very much on like a fringe flex for me, and I think that I'm playing the wait and see game to see what the opportunity share looks like. We need a pass catching back to emerge out of these 3, and it's not Chris Rodriguez. I can tell you that much. It's not going to be him. So it's going to be McNichols or it's going to be Bill. I would love if Bill comes out and he is running the most routes out of the 3 running backs and he's getting commanding targets. I don't care who the quarterback is. I would lose my pants, and I'm starting Bill Krosky Merritt every single week after that. So I'm waiting. I'm seeing. I get it. It's week 3. If you're 0-2 and you need a jolt, you might have to start Bill Krosky. But for me, I'm holding and waiting. I want to see. I just want to see that. Let's see. 7 Leaves Design. Good morning. Would you drop Tracy for Tootin off waivers? I would. I think Tootin and Tracy are very much. I think Tracy and Tootin are very similar, and we kind of saw with the Tyrone Tracy injury that Scatabo is going to be. He's going to be a problem in that backfield. I think that at best Tyrone Tracy comes back to a 50-50 split with him. And I'm not too confident in that. I think that we were benefiting last week from the New York Giants being against the Dallas Cowboys. And it was not indicative of what we're going to see out of the Giants all season. So I think I definitely think I'm kind of shocked that Tootin is sitting out there on waivers currently. So the fact that he hasn't been scooped up already kind of tells me that you got some time. So go scoop him now. I like that one though. And then we got Quincy Davis here. Drop one. Pearsall Jennings or Worthy. Why do I gotta drop one of those? Goodness gracious. Pearsall Jennings or Worthy. The fact that Worthy is coming back soon kind of makes me want to hold on to him. I do think that Jawan Jennings is still good though. I probably do drop Jennings though. I think that's tough. That's a tough one right there. Those are 3 guys that I would still like to have on my teams. But if I have to drop one, I'm going to drop Jennings. I think that Pearsall's got the higher ceiling. I think that Xavier Worthy, when healthy, has the higher ceiling, and he's already making a push to come back week 3. So I think I agree with Alex there that I would drop Jennings. MV Prof, you dropped Benson for Tootin, which might backfire with Tootin. Oh, Tootin is on the injury report. That is true. I forgot that Tootin did get a little bit dinged up. I do like Trey Benson. Trey Benson he's looking good, and Connor hasn't been looking great. He had this great, beautiful start lined up for him with some soft run defenses, and he has not taken advantage of it. So that might backfire on you there. I think I might have kept Benson there, but I do get the appeal for Tootin. If you can, maybe go snag Benson back. Not dropping Tootin, but if you got an extra spot like another fringe type of guy, I would try to grab Benson back. But yeah, so Bill Krosky Merritt, like I said, I'm holding right now. I'm going to bench him. I'm going to wait and see what week 3 has for the running back opportunity share. But I'm going to go ahead and go to a guy that I have confidence in. And call me crazy. Call me absolutely crazy for having confidence in a Chicago Bear. But I think DJ Moore in week 3 is a start. I think you have to start him. I think the opportunity hasn't been beautiful. It's been ugly in Chicago. They've had to throw the ball, and he hasn't really delivered yet. But I also think that he went up against 2 tougher defenses. Minnesota week 1, that's a tough defense to go up against. And no one on Chicago really did well that week. And then week 2, it was against the Lions. And like I said, that was a very spite filled, angry game from the Detroit Lions. So I don't think they were going to give Caleb any garbage time, anything. Odunze popped off, which was great. Knew that was coming from him. But what's been shocking is the lack of targets, the lack of production out of DJ Moore. But we're sitting here, and Odunze's had a great start to the season, but the Bears are 0-2. It's not like they're winning games. It's not like they're competitive in these games. It's not like they're like, oh, things are working well, let's just keep feeding Odunze. Something has to change here. And I think that we might see DJ Moore get more involved. We might see Ben Johnson get in Caleb's ear and be like, hey, throw your number 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call him, wide receiver, the damn ball. 16.4% target share, big concern. But like I said, the Bears are 0-2. I'm predicting some changes here. I'm predicting a shakeup in the game plan. And I think that DJ Moore is in line to have a good week. This is my matchup of the week right here. It's the Bears versus the Cowboys. I talked about it on Tuesday. Both of these defenses are defenses I want to target. And we've seen it already that the Cowboys are facilitating shootouts. We saw the first half of the Philly game, headed for a shootout. Lightning kind of ruin the vibe, ruin the mood there. They completely turned the lights on in the club on us with the Lightning delay week 1. And then week 2, it was just laser show. Russell Wilson looked elite. A 450-3 is a stupid number for a guy like Russell Wilson at this stage of his career. So I think that Caleb Williams can do it. We've seen flashes. We've seen bits and pieces look good, and we've seen bits and pieces look absolutely horrible. I think against a bad defense in a game where they're at home, they need to put on a show at least for the fan base. So I really think that DJ Moore comes back. I do think that Odunze is going to be the 1A target from here on out, but I still think that they can consolidate a little bit more. They might be trying to spread the ball out. They might be trying to get a little bit too cutesy. And I think Ben Johnson is going to realize, just like he did in Detroit, that you have good players. You get them the ball. DJ Moore could be his Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. Like Odunze's posted up on the outside. Use DJ Moore like all over the field. I just don't know if they know what they want to do with DJ Moore yet. But again, like I said, 0-2. They're still installing this offense. I think that we're going to see a little bit of a turnaround here. And I think that if there was ever a week for a DJ Moore bounce back, it's week 3 against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm starting him in every league I got just because I call me crazy for having confidence in a Bears player, but here I am with that. Let's go ahead and take a look. We got some more questions in the chat. We got Evan Gittleman. Mark Andrews or Dalton Kincaid. I also have Josh Allen, if that makes a difference. I'm not really like too crazy on like a lesser tight end QB stack, but I am going to go with Dalton Kincaid here. We saw, I know that MB Prof put out that he had a lower snap share, but he still had, 5-6 targets in week 2. I really think that it was very much a product of the game. A product of the game where they didn't need to be passing the ball too much. I mean, they threw like 26, 27 passes. I mean, he's been sitting at a 50% target share all season. 48% in week 1, 49% in week 2, and it hasn't stopped him from getting 10 targets over those 2 games. So I'm going to go with Dalton Kincaid in a plus matchup against the Dolphins. Either way, both these guys are not focal points of their offense right now. Mark Andrews, you're just banking on a touchdown, and I get it. It's the Detroit Lions, who are notoriously bad against tight ends, but I don't think that Andrews is the type of tight end to really exploit that kind of matchup unless he catches a touchdown in the end zone. I don't think he's breaking off a big play. So I'm running Kincaid there. We got Kyle Siebert. What are your thoughts on AJ Brown? I think AJ Brown's going to bounce back. We see what the Philadelphia Eagles want to do, and it's the exact same thing that they wanted to do last season, which is just run the damn ball. And we knew that. We knew that coming into this season, and that was one of the big question marks was, does that continue? I thought we would see a little bit more passing, but they just haven't had to. They've been so effective. They've been so efficient on the ground that they haven't had to. So this week, who does Philadelphia play? Philly has the Rams. I think that we could see a little bit more passing this week out of Philadelphia. I think that the Rams are probably one of the more competitive teams that they faced so far. I get it. They faced the Chiefs last season, but this is a very beat up version of the Chiefs. So I don't think that that was really really too great. I think we see a bit of a shootout here in Philadelphia with the Rams. I think Stafford's absolutely balling right now. I think Puka and Adams can go ahead and exploit these young corners a little bit. And I think that we see a very competitive, fun game out of Philadelphia and the Rams. And I think that Hurts is going to have to push the ball down the field. I get it. The Rams are a good defense, but they're not going to be able to pressure Hurts a crazy amount. So Hurts is still going to have time when he needs to throw. And so I got confidence in AJ Brown. If you can buy low on him, if he's not on your team, I would put out some low cheapy offers out there. I know people are starting to panic, but I'm not full panic yet. I'm not selling low. So I think just hold strong on AJ Brown. And then Kyle, once again, follow-up question. Start Keon Coleman or Khalil Shakir with Josh Allen. Keon Coleman all day. I broke down the Buffalo Miami game earlier, so you can go back after and get the full breakdown. But I think that Coleman is a better start. Shakir looks like he's still coming back from injury and getting warmed back up in this offense. And I think that the Miami defense is very weak on the outside. So I think that we're going to see some early shots to Keon Coleman. I think he's going to come through here. Quincy Davis. Here got to go once again with the full roster build for you. One running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. Bill, Pollard, Dobbins, White, Higgins, Myers, QJ, Travis Hunter, Cedric Tillman, Mooney, Bill and Pollard for sure. Or Bill Krosky is my one running back for sure. 2 wide receivers. You got to start T. Higgins out of those. I would start Jacoby Myers out of those for sure. And then for my 2 flexes, I would go so Bill, Tony Pollard, T. Higgins, Jacoby Myers, and then I would go Quentin Johnston and Cedric Tillman for my other 2 there. Someone dropped Judy in a 10-man league. Drop Troy Franklin for Judy. I would drop Troy Franklin for Judy. We don't know what Troy Franklin is. He had one great, amazing week with a great snap share, but it's not something that I'm looking to like. If it continues, great. I'm okay being wrong on that, but I think Judy is an every down player. And obviously the Cleveland shit show's bad, and it's probably not going to get any better going up against Green Bay this week. But I think that Judy is, no matter who the quarterback is, he's going to be a primary target there. So I would go get Judy for that. We got Kyle Sieber once again. Start Worthy this week. I mean, if he plays, I feel like you kind of gotta. It's against the Giants, so I'm like maybe not, because like, does Kansas City need to throw the ball? Does Kansas City really need to risk Xavier Worthy's health out there? The only reason I say yes is because Kansas City is 0-2 right now. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane that they're going into Sunday Night Football against the New York Giants 0-2. They're not going to go 0-3. They're going to come out. They're going to want to make a statement and say that the Chiefs are still here. So if Worthy plays, I think I start him, but I would not be excited. I would not be expecting a whole lot, but I think that the lack of weapons on Kansas City, if he plays, he's going to be involved and needs to be involved. So I think you gotta, if he plays. All right. And I got one more player that I wanted to talk about. I appreciate you guys, by the way, in the chat. Keep the questions rolling. This is exactly what this segment is about. It's about confidence in guys. So the fact that you guys are able to just jump in and give me all of these start sit questions, really, I appreciate that. That's what I love about the Thursday show, is I get to talk to you guys directly a lot instead of me just sitting here or like going through talking to myself. So I appreciate y'all. Last guy that I have on my own list here for my fantasy football trust fall for week 3, it's Bo Nix, and I'm benching him. I am not looking to start Bo Nix right now. He is ranked as QB 12 on the week per the Fantasy Pros ECR. And honestly, he's been mid. Like, even in his good game last week, it was off the back of 3 touchdown passes. It's not like he was running. It's not like he was doing anything crazy. He just finally started taking what the defense was giving him. And it was a very competitive back and forth game, which we could see once again here. But I definitely think that the LA Chargers defense, even without Khalil Mack, is a lot better than the Indianapolis Colts defense. I think that this is going to be a bit of a battle. And we've seen the Denver Broncos be a little bit more balanced. They've been trying to get the running game going with RJ Harvey and with J.K. Dobbins. So I think that we kind of see them try to do that. And again, like I said, this Chargers defense is not they're not a bunch of pushovers out there. They're a strong defensive group. They've held both teams that they've played in check, including Kansas City, which again, I'm not like saying that this is like prime Chiefs that they kept in check, but it was still the Chiefs that they kept in check. So with Bo Nix, I am having him take a seat this week. I get it. QB 12 on the week means that he is a start worthy guy, but if you picked up Daniel Jones, I'm starting Daniel Jones. If you got Caleb Williams as like a backup for him, I'm starting Caleb Williams. If you got Drake May, I'm starting Drake May. I'm starting all three of those guys who were drafted well below Bo Nix. I'm starting all three of those guys over Bo Nix in week 3. I just want to see him start to get more into that midseason flow that we saw last year. I want to see him start running some more. I want to see him on the, like, he's been throwing on the move so much, but he's been doing it just taking unnecessary risks. Right now, he is number one in the league with danger plays and interceptable passes per player profiler. But he's number one in both those categories. And even like outside of those, it's not like he's like pushing the ball deep downfield when he's doing these things. He's only got 5.1 yards per attempt, number 33 in the NFL right now. So it's been kind of ugly for Bo. Like I said, he got the 3 touchdowns last week, which really made it look like he's having the bounce back right now. But at the end of the day, only 200 yards and 3 touchdowns and still threw an interception. So I want to see Bo get back into the 2024 mid-season flow before I start to confidently roll him out there. I thought that he was going way too high in drafts, and I still think that people are having just this take lock from the end of last year where he was rolling. Against a good defense, I'm not looking to do it. Like I said, I want to see the rushing production come back, and I want to see just better quarterback play out of him. He's had moments, but like I said, he's been taking unnecessary risks way too often, and Sean Payton hates that. So I think that Sean Payton's going to reel him back in, but I just don't see it getting back on track quite today. So I'm benching Bo Nix. Like I said, I gave you 3 guys: Danny Dimes, Caleb Williams, and Drake May. I'm starting all of them over him. It's kind of ugly. Alex, you were super high on the Chargers defense this week until the Mac news. I know the Mac news kind of crushes that, but it's still, I mean, they still got Bosa. It's still a strong. This is the team that still has Bosa, right? There's still a strong defense. I still think that their cornerback play, their secondary play has been great. So I'm still very much feeling like they're gonna put up a good fight, and it'll be a good game. But it just, I don't think Denver's gonna get it done through the air. Kyle Siebert back again. We got AJ Brown, Keon Coleman, Quentin Johnson, Xavier Worthy, Jacoby Myers, pick 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 guys there. I'm leaving out Xavier Worthy off that list just because of the injury. If I don't got to start Worthy, I don't want to start Worthy, so I'd stick with the other 4 there. Fields on IR. Okay. Oh, John Thomas, you about gave me a heart attack. You said Fields on IR. I was like, for a concussion? But I realized now on the fantasy platform. Okay. Whew. I missed your question here. Okay. John Thomas, I drafted Justin Fields and Jordan Love. My QBs are now Love and Wilson. I mean, the fact I don't know if I would have picked, if it's super flex, yeah, I see picking someone up. But if you didn't have to pick someone up, I would have just rode with Jordan Love until Fields comes back next week. But I'm rolling with Love here this week. Out of those 2, and let's see. But yeah, so yeah, bench and Bo Nix. I'll go back through my 3 guys. We got Bill Krosky Merritt. Wait and see. If you can, I want to see what the running back opportunity share is. I feel like I'm just repeating myself from week 1 where I want to see what the opportunity share is. And I'm here once again, week 3, what the hell is the opportunity share before I feel confident? He can obviously, like I said, deliver a big splash play. We've seen it already. He's been efficient. It's just, what does this offense look like without Austin Eckler and maybe without Jayden Daniels? Wait and see there. DJ Moore, this is make or break for DJ Moore right now in terms of fantasy football confidence in general. Dallas Cowboys shootout potential, should be an absolute laser show in Chicago. If DJ Moore doesn't do it now, panic. And then Bo Nix, I'm letting him ride the bench for one more week. I get it, 3 touchdowns last week, but tough matchup against the Chargers defense. And I just haven't seen the midseason form that I want to out of Nix before I feel confident starting him. I just feel like there's a lot of good options out there. So going to hold off on that. Before we get to the week 3 espresso shot, let's take a look. I saw some messages roll in. 7 leaves. Your running backs are all rookies with Bill, Henderson, Harvey, Judkins, and now Tootin. Should you make a moves for a running back, or should you hold and wait for the hopeful rookie takeover? If you have amazing wide receivers and you can get like a running back that gives you a bit of a floor, I would do that. Maybe like if you send one of your lesser running backs it'd be tough to get Jordan Mason right now because of the Aaron Jones IR, but a guy like that, or like a James Conner who's kind of been disappointing, but still has the volume, maybe do that. But I think between Bill, Henderson, and Harvey and Tootin, and even Judkins just start ramping, I think we're going to start to see the rookie running back ramp up start to happen. I think Bill's going to be first, and I think Tootin, if he isn't like injured, is going to start ramping up as well. And I think we're going to see Judkins start to get the volume. RJ Harvey's kind of a bit of a wild card, and same with Travion Henderson, where they're the home run hitters. So you're kind of just playing the lotto with those 2 guys starting right now. So if you can get a cheaper guy with a safer floor, I would make that move for your wide receiver, like with one of your lesser wide receivers. So that's what I would do. Appreciate you for subscribing. Always love to see that and hear that. Would love to see you back every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Hyphy buckets, start Dak or Trevor this week and start one out of Tootin, Harvey, Trey Benson for RB2. I'm Dak all day. Dak against the Bears. Like I said, I'm calling for a laser show in Chicago, and the Bears defense is injured. Jalen Johnson done for the season, and I think that like I said, the Cowboys defense and the Bears defense are 2 defenses that I'm targeting every single week. So the fact that they're playing each other right now, give me Dak all day right there. Jerry Bagshaw, do I trust Sutton this week? I don't trust him. I'm still probably going to start him just because he is a wide receiver 1 on a solid offense. I know it sounds backwards. I'm not starting Bo Nix, but I would trust Sutton. But I feel like Sutton's one of those guys that you have to trust unless you have really, really good options. So it really depends on who else you got. But I probably would end up trusting Sutton this week just for the safety floor of his targets. But we're back. I know we didn't get an espresso shot last week. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, last Thursday, I was not able to make it on the stream because of some travel, and I wasn't able to pre-record on Wednesday due to I had some sick kids. They were not feeling too hot, so I didn't get a chance to record anything. So we missed the week 2 espresso shot, but we're back with week 3. I'm 0 for 1 on the espresso shot. I went a little too crazy with Travis Hunter. And you know what? Fuck it. We're going crazy again. I am right back to a boom bust wide receiver, but I think that he's ranked way too low. It's Quentin Johnston. It is Quentin Johnston of the Los Angeles Chargers. Right now, he is ranked as the wide receiver 43 on the week. And the dude's been top 22 weeks in a row. So guess what? I'm calling right now. Quentin Johnston, top 20 running back, week 3. I don't care if it's come off of big plays. I don't care how he's doing it. He is doing the damn thing 2 weeks in a row. He's got 3 touchdowns. Everyone's going to say, oh, it's a fade. It's a fade. It's a fade. He's already being faded down to wide receiver 43. And now we have the Ladd McConkey biceps injury. We could see a lot more targets coming his way, some more stability. We could see an even bigger consolidation if Ladd McConkey misses time or is out there as a decoy. And we could see Quentin Johnston go from 5 targets up to 7, 8, 9, 10 targets. And that just gives him more opportunity to do things with the ball. We've seen him do it once with Yak. We saw him break a tackle and go for a touchdown. We saw him on a deep bomb where he was behind the entire defense. He's doing it in different forms, different segments of the field. So I think that Quentin Johnston is a great start this week. I'm plugging him in into my flex in a lot of leagues here, just because everyone's gonna be scared off of the Denver matchup. Everyone's gonna be worried about PS2, and I get that. But at the same time, he's not gonna be lined up against PS2 100% of the time. They're not gonna have Patrick Surtain following Quentin Johnston around. They're gonna want him to cover all the different guys out there. So I definitely think that QJ is who we wanted him to, or who the Chargers wanted to be 2 years ago. I think that we're finally seeing it. I think the pressure is off with Ladd and Keenan and just all the time that he's put in with Justin Herbert. I think the pressure is off and he's finally able to perform and deliver here. His route participation is 100%. He's not coming off the field. It doesn't matter what down it is. It doesn't matter what distance it is. It is Quentin Johnston on the field. He's a red zone target. He's a deep bomb target. He's a screenplay target. He's doing everything right now, and it's awesome to see. And the fact that they have him ranked right now on Fantasy Pros at wide receiver 43 feels like an absolute crime. I'm calling for it here. I'm calling once again another top 20 finish for Quentin Johnston in Week 3 against the Denver Broncos. Book it as the espresso shot. I got to go spicy here. I missed a week. I got to go real spicy. Let's see. We got Maui. How do you feel about Waddle tonight? Would I trade Javonte Williams for Kyron Williams in Dynasty? Yes. What? No, absolutely. Javonte Williams for Kyron Williams in Dynasty. Kyron Williams just signed a new contract, is a little bit younger, and Javonte Williams is on a 1-year prove-it deal, and he's proven it. But there's no guarantee for him after this. We saw Tony Pollard have a good season for the Cowboys and get shipped off. We saw Rico Dowdle have a good season with the Cowboys and get shipped off. I don't think the Cowboys are tied to any running back that's not named Ezekiel Elliott for too long. I think that kind of put a bad taste in Jerry Jones's mouth. So love what Javonte is doing this season. But for Dynasty, Kyron Williams all day. How do I feel about Waddle tonight? I don't want to trust him. If I have any other options that I feel any type of confidence in, I'm starting them over Waddle, because we know this with Waddle when he's not on the injury report, that he goes in, he gets hit, he comes out for 2 series and he's back in. He gets hit, he's out for 2 more series. It's just, that's the Jaylen Waddle game. We could see a good game out of him, but I'm not trusting it right now with him already being questionable and having to do a pregame warm-up test to see if he'll even play. So I'm avoiding Waddle if I can. And the prof dropped Samson for Monagai. Very concerned about Samson with Judkins coming in and Ford still involved with 6 targets. I still like Dylan Sampson though. Like, I feel like yes, Ford did split more, but Sampson got a touchdown. He still had 7 to 13 to 11. It is becoming a little bit of a gross split, but what have we seen out of Monagai? I get it. Swift is on the injury report. I did forget to put that in the news. Swift is on the injury report, and Monagai did get 10 carries, but I just think that we would see more out of him. Roschon Johnson is back, and I know that he was back for week 2 and he didn't get any run, but I think that's just because he hasn't been there. And Ben Johnson very much seems like he's running that meritocracy, like you prove it, you play it type deal. So I don't know if I'm dropping Samson quite yet for Monagai. I think Swift is going to be fine, and I think that Roschon Johnson is going to kind of build back up, and we're like, either way, you're looking at a 30-30-30 gross split where we've seen Samson rack up 9 targets. What have we seen Monagai really do? So I think I'm sticking with Samson there, Prof. Let's see. John Thomas traded Johnston, Tootin, and Shaheed for Olave and ETN. Feel pretty good about that. I feel like that's a pretty solid trade. I like both sides. I feel like you're buying high on ETN, which is kind of scary. But I do think that Johnston has a solid season overall. I think Tootin does have a solid season, and I think Shaheed and Olave are pretty even. So I might have actually liked what you had already. Obviously, if you wanted to condense and go get an extra roster spot, that helps. But I I think I actually like what you had before, to be honest with you. Unless you needed a starting running back now, then I like that trade for you. But if you didn't need a running back, I think I might have just held firm there, but still not bad. I like that. But yeah, like I said, Quentin Johnston, he is my espresso shot of the week 3. And that is all that I got for you today, guys. I appreciate you all so much for tuning in on Thursday. I do want to ask the question of, do you guys like this type of format where it's kind of more free flow, start city type stuff? Or do you want more of like the matchup by like NFL matchup by NFL matchup kind of breakdown that you see elsewhere? Is it something that you want to see there? Or let me know, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on the comment here on what you want to see, because if you guys like this, I'm going to keep doing this. I have fun with this. I feel like it's a lot more conversational. It's a lot more free flow. I could always go and try a week with the matchup by NFL matchup, but really I just want to make sure that I'm doing best for you guys. But thank you always for tuning in. Let's get ready for week 3. We got, like I said, Miami, Buffalo tonight. So gear up for that sneaky shootout. But I will see you guys on Tuesday for our reactions. Like I said, hoping to have Jason Altrell on sometime next week. So hopefully we can get that going for you guys. But appreciate you as always. Be sure to follow me at JOwens_FF on Twitter. Also on TikTok at JOwensFF. Make sure you're subscribed to and liking these videos so I can keep doing what I'm doing. And if you're going to use Fast Draft this weekend, be sure to use code JOwensFF for a $50 deposit match. I appreciate you all. Catch you on Tuesday.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.